So if you were gonna buy Cyberpunk because it's getting a 10, would you get it with a Series X or a Series S?
Well, I think that goes without saying. I would go Xbox Series X on this. I want to see the top. I want to see everything this thing can do. Like I want to see all the ray tracing. I want to see all the textures. I want everything to pop. That's my reference. That's my crisis, if you will. Right? Pop in something. Let's see how this thing actually runs. I would do it on a Series X because I have a 4K TV, a sizable 4K TV that I calibrate. And I'm not saying that to brag, but I'm like, I've got the system already, as well as a
You
surround
can't
sound.
say that to brag. You could say that because you're a nerd
I'm
and
a
that
nerd,
you're living as one.
I am, yeah. Like I absolutely love equipment, so I've got like surround sound. I've got a pretty decent TV. I mean, it's not top of the line or anything, because I'm not going to spend like 10 grand on a TV. But
Sure.
with that 100%, I'm going to play it on the Series X. However, if you have, let's say you don't have a 4K TV yet, or maybe you have a smaller TV that you're using where you're not going to get quite as much bang for your buck, or maybe you don't really care that much about 4K. Series S, man, Series S for the price. And I thought I had my trailer up here, but yeah, Series S for the price would be good. But myself, I'm going to play on a Series X.
Yeah. And so really that led me to like the discussion in general of getting the Series S or the Series
Yeah.
X. We'll talk about PS5 at some point because it's a lot harder to talk about why you would get digital versus not on PS5. But there's a significant difference in price between the Series X and the Series S, and that is $500 for the Mac Daddy and $299 for the Little Daddy.
Yep. That's considerable. So the PlayStation difference is $100. So we're talking about $299 for a next gen system. You can mince words and say, oh well, it's not 4K, it's not that great of technology, it's not that fast. You're playing all the same games on it though, so you can play the newest games, be it with your graphics are not 4K, but you still get some of the advantages of the next gen, and you're playing new games. So yeah, I think it's a great deal. I think this to me, if I were a parent of like a teenager, or a tween, like I would go, you know what? Here's your Series S, and they may whine about it, be like, you can play the same games on it, and you can play it on your TV, and then we have the Series X in the other room, because that's would be me as a parent. I'd be like, I've
Absolutely.
got the Series X over here. You have your own Series S. When I'm not playing my games, you can play on dad's console. But yeah, that's how I view it. At least, like, I think it's a great. I actually suggested that to some of my friends who have kids who are like, oh, they want the new Xbox, and I'm like, well, if it's not gonna really irritate them if they're not too crazy about it. And one of them was like, oh well, he's only got a 1080p TV in his room, and I'm like, great, give him a Series S, and he's not gonna get more bang for his buck out of the other one.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, unless like I mean if you have 4K TV and you have a good one or a big one even, I think that it's probably future proofing yourself to get the Series X.
Mhm.
Um, but like you said, it's not just that. Say you're like me. Until recently, I did decide to go with a Series X, but at first, whenever this thing launched, I said on this podcast, I think I'm getting a Series S. It just slowly creeped into me over time. That's like, I I do want to. If I'm gonna buy it, I might as well buy the better version. My wife made a point that the Series S does not have a disk drive, and she has Xbox One games, some 360 games that are on disc that she would like to be able to play if she wants to. And I was like, okay, absolutely. So that's another thing to consider as well, is if you have a past physical library. But say you're that person who's like, I'm getting a PS5, and that's where I've done my gaming the last generation, similar to where I was at. And you're like, I want a Game Pass machine, man.
Mhm.
Like this, they should have just called it Xbox Game Pass machine. Like this has Game Pass box written all over it.
Yeah.
It's digital only, which is all Game Pass is to begin with. You still get all the frames. You don't get quite the graphical power that you would, but you get Game Pass on it, and you
Yep.
can play like every indie game.
You play every indie game. Does it get the same frame rate? I thought the frame rate went up to 60, and the X has could
it
go up to
it can
120.
1440 60 up to 120, so that's going to
Okay,
depend on the game, but they're saying minimum 60, and 1440 up res, so it's still going to be 1440 showing as 4K. It's just not going to be true 4K output.
which again, depending on your display, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Um, it's really not a bad thing. So yeah, in my opinion, there's reasons to get the different ones, but that's an easy difference. Price point, obviously. If you don't have so essentially, if you need a cheaper console and you don't have a physical library already, let's say you bought pretty much all your Xbox One games digitally, or maybe you didn't have an Xbox last generation, maybe that type of situation, or you don't want to spend $500 because once you spend that $500 on the console, or if you're doing all access, then you got Game Pass with you. But if you purchase the console and now you have to buy games and accessories, those add up. So and that goes without talking about the expandable storage with the Xbox Series consoles, which is the same, by the way, but that is pricey. We're talking 219 for another terabyte of storage. So all these things add up. So if you're on a budget, the Series S is not a bad take. Your games are still going to look good. I'm surprised the frame rate could keep up there. But
They've got to be sacrificing something else. Probably just how good it looks.
sure. In regards to like draw distance and ray tracing,
Yeah.
lighting, shadows, so essentially what this boils down to for those who play mostly on console, this is similar to what happens with PC games. If your PC that you're gaming on doesn't have that great of settings, then it will automatically detect and say, "Oh, well, I'm going to turn this down. I'm going to turn this down," and adjust so it gets the best performance. Except in this case, they don't have to do that for all those different parameters. They can do it for S and for X, which I think that's it. I think from a developer standpoint, they should be able to optimize it for either, and that's part of Xbox's smart delivery to say, "Oh, which console do you have? You get that version as opposed to getting file bloat." If I can go like even more into like geeky stuff, that I could rant about that. But no, the smart delivery system, I think you're going to get the most bang for your buck out of the S. However, you're not going to get some of the bells and whistles with the X. So yeah, that's my take on it. I don't think I want to drop money on a next gen console and then have a sacrificed experience or a less than experience,
Hmm.
especially because I came from a 1X. If you're coming from a 1X to the Series S, it's going to look almost the same, in my opinion. You're going to get the quick resume and all of that out of it, but I still think there's a lot that you're not going to get in regards. You're not going to the games aren't going to look that better once they've booted up. That's what I'll say. Once they're booted up, if you have an Xbox One X and an Xbox Series S, I don't think the Series S is going to run the game better. I think it may be faster to boot the game.
Yeah. So what I want to know is, yeah, obviously I get why we're both getting X's. Again, I was originally going to get the S because I was just going to
You were.
do that. So we you have to buy a game. Like, I'm going to have Game Pass, but I've said that I don't intend to spend a whole lot of money on Xbox's game store, but I need to play something that is going to be like the best running thing on Series X. So do I go Valhalla, uh, Cold Cold War? I'm not doing Dirt 5. Like, it's just not where I'm at. Gears 5 is apparently getting
Yep.
upgraded, so that's going to be included in Game Pass though. Um, Watch Dogs Legion. I haven't really seen how good that's going to look, but what are you picking? Like, I know
Yeah.
your wife's what game your wife's picking, but if it was just you saying I'm going to pick one, what are you doing?
If it was just me, if it was just me, honestly, it'd probably still be Assassin's Creed.
Okay.
Call of Duty is going to. I wish I'm probably dig for a trailer on it, but Call of Duty, every trailer that I've seen of Cold War looks better and better. Like it gets me more hyped for a game series that I don't really care about usually.
Yeah.
It looks, because it looks so good. It looks so real. I'm gonna pop this up like. Uh, it looks so good and so real. And I think that the story is a lot more, I don't know if I'd say fleshed out, but I think the story for the most part has a lot of I don't know, upsides to it that maybe I don't know. I'm trying to think how to explain it. Like, I love the setting. I love
Mm.
the visuals. I think the Cold War is an interesting era, but in regards to textures and the different environments that they're in, I think this is going to be really not necessarily a showstopper, but I think it's going to show it off very well. And if it, I mean, Cyberpunk is a possible. Cyberpunk could be one of those references for you if you wanted to get a game
Okay.
just to see what it looks like.
And I might as
That's,
well included that in launch. It technically comes out at least until it gets delayed,
yeah,
November 20th,
yeah.
which is a week after launch. I should have just included that as a launch title,
Yeah.
but I did not.
But day one, if we can't include that, then yeah, I'd probably say Valhalla, but Cold War, man, Cold War is going to look really good. Um, and the additional frames, I think is going to help out in regards to multiplayer for people who play a lot of console. I think that's going to help them in regards to multiplayer. I'm curious. I don't know, and this is going to sound weird, but I'm curious how many people are going to, um, I don't know, not like the when if it goes up to 60 or 100 frames. If you have a TV that can do that, I'm wondering how many people will actually dislike it because you hit the where it's almost too real. I don't think
Mhm.
that I will, but I think I'm thinking of like my reaction when I see smoothing on TVs. Like, I absolutely hate that, but I think this looks more natural, so it's probably not going to turn people off and when it hits that high frame rate.
No, and really, the main part you're caring for that kind of you want that kind of high frame rate if you're going to play online.
Of
If
course,
you have
for
a
online.
TV that can take advantage of 120, you automatically have an advantage over me.
Yep, yep, and
Because I have a 60 hertz TV, so my TV cannot push past 60 frames no matter what it's running at.
I got to double check mine. I want to say mine's 120, but I can't remember offhand. I have I don't watch live sports and that kind of stuff, so I've got smoothing and all that turned off. The auto motion, whatever they refer to it as. Every
Yeah,
manufacturer calls it something else.
it's always something
Yeah,
ugly.
but in that case, that's faking extra frames. These are actual frames, and I think that the human eye is going to. It probably, the people who don't like smoothing, like I don't like smoothing, I'll probably be okay with this. And the games that I have played are when I see video of 60 frames, then it looks great. So I don't think I'm going to get like motion sickness or anything. But I just thought it'd be something because we haven't been as used to that. We've been used to seeing, in regards to videos and film, we're talking 24 to 30 frames. I think it's going to be mind blowing for some people who have not experienced something like that, who have been playing on consoles. Maybe they didn't play. Um, they didn't get a PS4 Pro. They didn't get an One X. And then going into this generation, I think it's going to blow their mind, in my opinion.
Absolutely, just the fact that games like console games, unless you've been playing Nintendo, a lot of them don't run at 60 even. I mean, The Last of Us Part 2 runs at 30
Yep.
on PS4 Pro, which was always ridiculous to me. So I think that people are in for a surprise. That I would I think that I'm going to be going Cold War. I'm going to wait on Valhalla. I think that I still haven't even ever played Odyssey or Origin,
Yeah.
and I own both of them.
I mean,
uh,
yeah. I mean, I will say that you're not going to have to know the
oh
previous
yeah,
ones. They've gone far away from the actual overall story arc that they had in the first like 3 or 4 games, so you don't have to know it as long as you understand the concept. But yeah, I think Cold War will also be easier for you to jump in and
stab
like
stuff. That's the
complete,
concept,
yeah,
right?
stab stuff,
Okay.
stab stuff, and talk to like Leonardo da Vinci and some random
Throw
people.
throw a bird.
Yep. Yeah.
out there.
Yep.
Okay, cool. I
That's
know
you got it.
you just need to come here for my Assassin's Creed spoiler cast. You just got a sneak
What?
peek.
You stab stuff? Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna the wife's gonna be playing that. That's kind of her series for the past almost a decade. She's been playing since I think Assassin's Creed 2. She didn't like the first one as much, but since Assassin's Creed 2, I think she's played almost every one. She's beaten almost every one. I think the ones she hasn't beaten have been like the what was the one, the spin-off to Black Flag, Rogue something, and yeah, I don't know. So she hasn't beat. I think those are the ones she hasn't beaten. But I got the medium playing on here. By the way, I know it's not technically on launch, but this is another game that I'm really looking forward to. That I think is taking advantage of the technology of being able to essentially run two versions of the same game at the same time and flip between them. I mean, there's obviously it's not exactly running two versions of the same game, but a parallel palettes, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, models, the character models, palettes, everything swapping on the fly, I think is going to be really cool. Plus, I'm into this stuff anyways. I don't think it's going to be that spooky. I think that the trailer makes it out to be, I don't know, more. I don't think there's going to be jump scares. Let me put it that way. There's still going to be some weird stuff, but I don't think it's going to jump scare you, which I like. I don't need to be jump scared. Creep me out. That's what I want.
It is October after
It's
all.
October. Yes. And we already started watching scary movies. I know it's not your thing. We already started watching scary
Nope.
movies earlier this week. And other than the nights that we do the podcast, we'll probably be watching a scary movie every single night because once November rolls around, I know that you don't like this, but we go into Christmas mode. I know. But anyways, you didn't come here to listen to that.
I'm a Thanksgiving kind of
I
guy
love
myself, ladies and
Thanksgiving.
gentlemen.
I love Thanksgiving, but how are you going to get through Hallmark's 138 Christmas movies per year if you Actually, I think there are 32 new Christmas movies this year on Hallmark.
Literally, here's what happens. Thanksgiving night, I
Yes.
come home from a great fried turkey dinner
Mm.
and I watch either Die Hard or Love Actually.
Okay.
And that is when Christmas
That's
season
right.
starts. It's Thursday night
Yeah.
after turkey.
Yep. I agree with that. So historically, that's when we started putting up Christmas decorations. It was either it was the day after Thanksgiving, but my mom, because she's my mom, she'd be pulling out the bins like after we're done eating and already looking through stuff that she's going to put up. And yeah, so I agree with you on that. But that's we started that mode. We're almost there this year. That's how close we are to these consoles launching. We're right around the corner, and hopefully some of these will be available for Black Friday. I know we're not talking about PlayStation right now. PlayStation did talk about, or they've talked about the digital versions being less available. We don't know if that was it was because of the amount of pre-orders that they may we don't have the full numbers. So I don't know if they say less available, meaning did they have a one-to-one stock and people are buying out those digital? You think there's actually less available? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
because I haven't seen the actual numbers of like how many did each retailer get allocated. We already know that some of them may have gotten the numbers wrong and they're back ordered, if you will. But I have not heard that about the Series S. Did you? Because I didn't hear
About,
anything like saying like,
about
oh,
there
there's
being less of
being
them?
less of them. Yeah.
100%.
Oh, you did? Okay, I didn't hear that.
It just felt like I didn't actually read it. It felt like it.
Felt like it, but see,
Like it
that's
felt
what
like
I'm
trying to
wondering.
pre-order one. I think maybe Robert got one
Yeah,
because
he
he
did.
gets one of everything of the S, but I don't know anybody else personally that managed to snag an S.
But see, that's what I mean. Is it the supply was lower, or is it the demand was higher? Are people just grabbing those S's for that secondary console? Maybe they just want it as a Game Pass machine. Maybe it's for the kid, and that's what I'm saying. Like maybe the supply was about the same, but everyone was going for S, or more people were going for it. You don't think so?
They stand to make more money if you buy the higher priced item that's in demand.
Oh, I
Like
agree.
even if the cost of ship is cheaper,
Sure.
like the fact what's the PS5 disc drive, that thing can't cost more than $30,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
30-40 bucks, call it 50 if you want. No matter what, like it's $100 difference. They stand to make more
Yes.
on their console back, and they're probably not making anything off the PS4 digital I don't know about the Series S because it does have lower specs, but the PS4 digital, there's no way that they're losing money on that
I
thing.
think,
It's
yeah,
too hardcore.
yeah.
That hard drive alone is too hardcore.
I agree, and I think the Series S, and I know the Series S doesn't have quite as good of a hard drive, but thinking about, I mean, it's still a fast hard drive
Well,
with
it has less
NVMe.
teraflops, less
So
GPU.
less teraflop, less GPU, same CPU though. So with the
Yes.
same CPU, and a similar, it's a smaller hard drive, but it is similar quality, if you will. I
Does it
think
have
that
the
they're
same hard drive?
no, the Series S has a 512.
Oh, yeah, but they run the same speed though.
Same speed. So it's still the
So
quality, same
512 versus 1 terabyte.
exactly. So you're going to get 300 gigs out of it, right?
Yeah.
So that's my guess. 300, and who knows how that's gonna ramp up and down. But from a Game Pass machine or whatever, I think it's good. I think that I think they're losing money on the S. I think Xbox is losing money on both of them because of the cost of that GPU, the cost of the additional hardware, and the quality of that GPU in the Series X. I think Microsoft's losing money on both of them, and they don't care. They don't
No,
care.
it's this no, and they're losing money on Gamecast.
Yeah,
They're literally they want they want to go from 10, I think it's 10 million Game Pass subscribers. They want to bump that to 50.
yeah.
They want as many Xboxes in your hands because they want 50 million people paying $10 to $15 a month.
And
Uh,
Netflix money right there. I mean, I used to say World
yeah,
of Warcraft money because Warcraft is 14 million or whatever. Was Netflix got 70 million subscribers? Probably more, probably 100. I don't even know. It's people like I don't know anyone offhand that I can name who does not have a Netflix subscription. That's the kind of saturation that Microsoft wants, because they may not have, okay, it's the same price as buying 4 games. Was it 4 games? Yeah, 3 games in a year, right? For the same price of buying 3 brand new video games in a year, you for Game Pass, right? You get Game Pass. So would they rather you purchase 3 new games or continue a subscription, or have more people continue a subscription? Because it's all about the velocity of money. How many people can we get to do this, as opposed to how many games can we get to sell? More people will grab Game Pass and they'll just say, I'll just play whatever's on here. You're putting the first party stuff on here, come at me. Game Pass is amazing, by the way, and I turned on my PS4 for the first time in like a week. That's how good the Xbox's Game
it'll
Pass.
get you, man.
Dude, it's great. So I don't think either one of these is a bad choice. It's just a question of like, what do you want? What are you after? And who are you buying it for?
Is it for the kids? Or are you doing it for any family members? Are you buying a PS5 also, and you still want to have that Game Pass machine in the house because maybe you want it on a separate TV or whatever, or you want it together just so you can play those Microsoft games because you don't have that banging PC.
You want to play the new Halo when it comes
Yeah,
out?
I really don't think you can go wrong at both price points. They're both great. 500 and 300 is awesome. Um, if I w- It was literally that my wife was like, "No, get the one with the disk drive," and I
Yeah.
was like, oh, "Okay, sure."
That's
That was a stamp of approval to spend more money. Like,
I
okay,
think, yeah, I was gonna say that was the stamp of approval, because it's not that you didn't want the big bad boy. It was like you were trying to go a little bit more frugal with that second console. I was already kind of having that same feeling of not only the wife having games on there, but also I have games. I have physical Xbox games that I want to be able to play on the next generation of hardware that I bring up, so that way I can play it in either room essentially. So
our
it was.
our top fan, uh, Robert, says that he doesn't think the S was selling at all, and somebody at the store told him there was one S per 5X.
Wow. Okay.
And I'm not sure if that's one S per 5X stock or one S per 5X sold.
That's a good
Assuming
question.
it's stock, though,
Yeah.
that means I'm right. But
Yeah.
assuming that's sales, then who knows?
No, I agree. I agree. So I was trying to adjust your video here. No, I agree. And funny enough, speaking of that, because I popped into GameStop the other day, and we were talking about. I was talking to them about like different peripherals and things, because um, I wanted to get the media remote and the Pulse headsets, and I was like, I know you're out. But I was like, do you know how many you're going to get like at launch? And he's like, I don't know. Like, it doesn't say in here. Because it says they're getting 0, and he's like, it's never 0. It'll say 0, but they'll get like 2 or 3. And he said no one pre-ordered either of those, and they had them available. Sorry, I think it was the charger and the headset. No one pre-ordered either of those, which I thought was kind of funny. I would think that people want to pre-order the charger.
1S per 5X, and they all sold. So there was definitely lower S stock than X.
Okay. And to me, I mean, and that's a business decision. I don't know. I wouldn't know how to make from a hardware manufacturing perspective. I would think 2 to 1 is what I was going to say.
Two angles.
Yeah.
One angle, at launch, they don't have as many S, but Black Friday, you see them S's in stock.
Oh, because people are ready to drop. People are ready to drop money on Black Friday.
Yeah.
And it may not.
I mean, the X will be available too, but I bet that's when you see more digital PS5s. I bet that's when you see more S's, because that's another automatic sales thing. But think about I'm not saying they did it artificially. I think they produced the console that they thought people would want more of, but because it's a COVID year and production was already hard for both of these companies. But they want their top console to sell on launch day. Like they both decided to launch 2 consoles on the same day. You know, they said, no, we want you to buy the big boy. You can buy the little boy in a couple weeks.
Yeah,
that sounds bad. Don't do that.
It sounds. Oh man,
you can cut that out.
I'm not cutting that out. No, so I think that. No, I'm sorry, I'm thrown off by that. I was going to say, as a business tactic, that would be impressive, most impressive to wait and be like, and to just have it ready, have a little bit more shipped, right? And like maybe do a 2 to 1 S versus X on Black Friday, because people will buy it. And if they sell out of the Series X, Black Friday, people are ready to drop that money, and they may go, you know what, I couldn't get the X, but the S is right here. I'm just going to buy the S. I think that you're going to see people making that purchase. Man, that's genius if that's true. Did you just think of that?
Yeah,
that was brilliant.
I think especially also like launch days for the people who really want it. Black Fridays for the shopping parents who are buying that stuff for their kids.
Yes, that's true. The enthusiasts and the people who are hardcore about it, we were the ones at 11 a.m., 11 Eastern, 10 Central. Yeah, and then the refresh button. F5. I'm going between tabs. I got multiple tabs going. Multiple tabs, all refreshing. That's us. But yeah, you're right. The parents, for the most part, they're not. The parents aren't doing that for the most part, unless they're gamers or they're like the coolest parents ever. So yeah,
40 days
40 days away, 42 if you're getting a PlayStation. So keep checking back here, keep listening, keep watching, and we'll talk to you more about these upcoming consoles next time. See you later.
Okay, bye.
Thank you for watching this episode of The LanCave. If you're not subscribed already, please do so. Right down, I think it's around there. Please subscribe. Watch us on Facebook every Thursday live. We'd love to see people in the comments chatting with us. You guys are just as enthusiastic about gaming as we are. Be part of the culture. Be part of the conversation. And we'll see you next time.